Welcome to our Cosy Conversations.
Welcome everybody.
I'm Alice.
And I'm Marion. What are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about talk. How many conversations have you had that are like, I talk over people all the time.
You don't listen, you're really bad at it.
And do educators, do we think enough about the two-way conversation? Like, children need to, well, how even did they learn to talk?
Yeah. And I think it's really about slowing down and appreciating that it will take them time, because what they're trying to do is think what they want to say, work it out all around in this big brain of ours or theirs, and then get it out to us as well.
And the kind of reality is that when we're with babies, when we're babies, we're all squished up, and we know our diaphragm. The voice works through the air coming out of our lungs, and going up and being pushed up here into our larynx, and our two vocal cords vibrating and getting the sound out of the mouth. And I think we don't spend enough time thinking about the physicality of talking.
Oh, not at all. I never think about it. I just think I should do it. And I love talking, and I particularly...
Did I teach you about it when I was your lecturer?
No.
I don't think we did. I really don't think we did. And I certainly wasn't taught about it when I was becoming a teacher. And so, how did we learn about it?
Do you not think that's that continuous interest in finding out more and more information?
Yeah, I suppose you read things, don't you? Or you listen to a podcast nowadays.
I'm still not getting the podcast thing, I have to admit, but I am.
But remember when we went in the singing retreat, Mary, and we were singing with the band, and Rachel, the lead singer, said to us, if you smile when you sing, it sounds so much better. And it's the same actually when you talk. But if you think about it, we know, but do we teach our other staff? Do we encourage in parents as well, but also even each other? Do you correct your friends? Not that I'm saying we all need to speak with a posh accent, but realistically, we know that the jaw needs to move, and the teeth and the tongue and the lips and all of that physicality needs to be working.
Yeah, and sometimes how are you modelling? Sometimes I think that we're so involved in getting what we want to say out there. And how frustrating must it be for a child when they're trying to say what they want to say,
and they can't get it out.
And they can't get out because they're thinking about it, and then we're moving on to the next thing.
And I think that's one of the things I've started to do a lot, is I take one word, like talking. What does talking mean? What does talking look like? Like, we know the 4 foundation stones of language acquisition is looking, listening, and hearing, and attention. Before you go up the pyramid. And so what does looking look like? What does listening look like? What does hearing look like? And what does paying attention look like?
I don't know. You don't know. You've still got to go back to that bottom foundation, I think, to do that one. But actually, what's the difference between hearing and listening?
So I guess over 90% of us hear automatically.
Right.
But as you know, Mary, I have an automatic ability to hear, but I don't listen to anything. And so I guess you could explain it that hearing is almost an automatic reaction in your body if you're lucky enough to be able to hear. And then listening is when you use your hearing on purpose.
Right, okay.
Would you say?
Yeah. And also, do you do... Well, people will say you do selective hearing. You definitely do selective hearing, I would say.
Or the other side is, I look as if I'm not listening, but I'm hearing everything.
Right,
yeah. That I can hear conversations going over there and over there and over there. Yeah. When we were 16 of us in an office, and I can do that. Yeah. But I'm choosing to do it, and that's the difference, I think.
And I can remember in a much younger life, when I was a barmaid, I used to love pouring the pints over here, but listening to the conversation over there.
But lots of the adults, I don't know actually if there's any stats about children, hear peripheral sounds really challenging, and that's when we have hearing aids and things like that. And so...
But also, if you think about, I interrupted you. Talking, is it good enough that if I'm working with children, I can understand them, or do does the talking need to be recognisable to everybody?
And
for
I think,
those words
yeah, I
to
think
be-
that's the thing, is that we know that we have a huge issue.
Mhm.
The statistics for language acquisition are horrific. And so there's lots of children who, if we tune into them, and staff are really good at doing that, but they're not actually saying it, they're not
No.
articulating the words properly. Like, I was in a setting recently for the first time, about to start a project, 22 children, and asking them just their name round the circle, I could only understand about 7 of them.
Yeah, so
And I had to ask them to repeat, and they were 3 to 4 to 5.
so we need to really home in on that articulation then, and sound and pronunciation.
And we're worried about literacy and reading and writing, when actually, if we don't speak and hear and be able to communicate with each other, and even, you know, I'm rubbish at it. I am terrible at a conversation.
Mhm.
You know that. I
Yeah.
constantly overtalk, and I constantly, because I live my life at 108 miles an hour. And when I'm with the children, I have to make a conscious effort not to do that.
Mhm.
And so the way we are as adults, with adults, the way you and I
Yeah,
are together, then, you know, that reciprocal conversation, how do we teach the chatterbox?
Oh, yeah, that's such a
So
good
we
idea.
love a chatterbox. So we would have a kit that has 2 microphones, 2 megaphones, 2 dictaphones, 2 voice changers, 2
flip
phones, handsets, that encourage us to
have a
encourage the
two-way
children
conversation. Yeah.
to realise that absolutely is how we learn our language, and how we acquire the ability to have a conversation.
And it is tricky, it is hard. I was yesterday planting some seeds, and I wanted to give all the information that I could give, so I probably was overloading with information.
Who are you doing it with?
I was doing it with Maisie.
Right, okay. Maisie is 4.
And Maisie's 4, so we were planting seeds, and I was saying, when do you think they'll grow? How long do you think it'll take us? How much soil do we need? And she just looked at me and she went, Grandma, I just love doing things with you. And I think what she was saying is, could you shut up for a minute and let me answer you?
So I guess that slow pedagogy that everybody is chatting about is like, we need to slow down, and we know that. And we certainly know that if children can't talk or listen and hear and participate in conversations, they're not going to have as broad a thinking offered to them, are they?
And then also accents. I mean, our accents are so different, and I know sometimes I say things and you're like, what are you saying? What are you saying?
That's an interesting one. I was speaking at a conference on Saturday, and a lady asked, what do you think of the American accents that they're all picking up?
Yeah.
Now, in the past, if she'd asked me that, my response was, I know, it's a nightmare, because they're imitating somebody that's not them. But actually, if you think about the nurseries in London, where there's 40 languages, 50 languages spoken, you've got a different accent, I sound different. So I don't, my response to her when I was speaking to her surprised me.
And if you think about, like, my kiddie's dad, he was a Geordie. So he would say, go and get a book. And I would say, go and get a book. So it's very, very
And I would say,
different.
book.
You know? Yeah.
And so with her asking me that, I think she was bothered about the children imitating the accents because of the American television. But the problem isn't the accents, the problem is the amount of time they're on the telly.
Yeah. And I know for a fact that Maisie uses the American language to wind her dad up.
So the words.
So she'll say, are you going to
get the garbage?
Yeah. Or
the sidewalk.
And she does, and I can see it. Oh, Dad, can I get some candy? And he'll say, it's not candy, it's sweets. and I can see the wee smirk in her. But to me, then, is she using both sides of her brain? Is she thinking deeper because she's doing that to her dad?
And that's about us again, because that would annoy me.
Yeah.
But actually, I was talking to somebody recently, and I said I had had a jag, and she looked at me as if I was mad. Yeah,
because they, like, down south, you would never say that.
Down south, where are you in the world? So a jag in Scotland, and the word for injection is we use jag, and I could see that they were kind of thinking, well, I don't know. And even when I was doing a story down in the forest, and I was using the down in the forest, book, and there's a page where the hair is jumping right. The hair illustration is 2 pages, and she's got gargantuan ears that swish and they sway, and all the children shouted out, "It's a bunny!" and which annoyed me because it's a rabbit.
It's a hare.
But actually, I had a big explanation to them, and I said, "No, it's a hare." I said it's a beggar rabbit, and so it's a different. It's it's like a dog and a cat. This is a rabbit and a hare, but maybe dog and cat wasn't the best example I could have done, but it was the one that came to my head.
But it's so challenging. We can.
But Mary, they were looking at me as if to say, and I saw 2 children touch their hair.
Yeah.
And so the English language is actually really confusing.
Oh, it's totally confusing. I mean, I'm still trying to learn it, and I'm 60.
I know, there's so many. How many words do you need for big and small? Oh my gosh. So, what we're thinking about then, having a conversation is really important. What's the most important thing to encourage children to realise and recognise about conversations? That
I
it's
think the two-way process and the articulation, so that we can actually understand. So it's not about, like, if they say something, it's not about us really correcting it all the time, but repeating it with the correct. So if they were to say, I'm going to go and get, I don't know,
candy.
Yeah, and I'd say, oh, would you like some sweets?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't sort of say, oh, if you say that American word, I'm never getting you any candy. I wouldn't say that. But what I would do is just say, oh, do you mean would you like some sweets? Or would you like some sweets?
And I guess in nursery that's less likely to happen, but you're using it as an example. And I think, it's interesting the way we respond to things.
But it's also interesting because I love seeing Maisie wind her dada. I just love it. So it's interesting that she's got that concept that she can do that.
So we need to think more, I think. So we've had to think about the conversation, and maybe another cosy conversation, Mary, when it pops into our heads, would be about another aspect of how do you broaden their ability to have conversations.
Yeah.